Hey everyone, my name is ZeBirdBrain and today we are talking about animation, but more specifically, tips and tricks about how to use the drawing substitution view to your advantage in your projects. So the drawing substitution view is nothing new, it's been there for ages and it's very useful when you do rigged animation and you need to select like pieces of your rig, like hands or mouth or whatever. But sometimes we forget how useful it can be for hand-drawn animation. So I'm going to show you a technique that might be a bit unusual, but I've been doing that for a while and friends told me that I should make a video about it. So here we go. If you already do that, I'm sorry. And if you don't, I hope that it's useful. So whenever I do hand-drawn animation, sometimes I need to color a lot of frames at the same time. You know, like when there's an animation that doesn't move that much, exactly like this little flame. It can be useful to use the apply to all frame button. So when you use the apply to all frame button to do whatever you want, you don't see the future frames, right? You just click and hope for the best. And then to see if you got it right, you need to, press on G 5,000 times and then I'm like, oh crap, actually I didn't do it right. But it's fine if it's like a 10 frame animation, but when you have a really long animation, it can be kind of painful to go through your frames one by one. So what I do is I use the drawing substitution view as kind of an overview of all my animation. So in that case, I only have 10 frames. But if you have a longer one, you can also like zoom out with this little slider here on the corner. You can zoom in and out. I usually set it so that I see most of my animation, because if it's too far away, you're not going to see the details, so that's kind of pointless. But, I like to see a lot of my frames at the same time, and I can even, have it take more space if I'm just doing painting and I know what I'm doing, right? So very useful to see all your frames at the same time. I'm still gonna need my tool properties. I'm just going to reorganize this a little bit. There we go. So then now I see all my frames at the same time. So if I do the same thing I did before, where I use the apply to all frames and my bucket and I click, I will be able to see that I missed a spot. And then I can just, go to the drawing and either fix it on this drawing by removing the apply to all frame, which by the way, don't forget that here it tells you if you're using it, because that tool is very useful, but it can also be very damaging to your project. So always be careful, and I can just paint this and then I'll be good. The other thing that it's useful for is if I select my select by color tool with my apply to all frame, I can also click on these to make sure I got every one of them, and then I can go into my color and change them to another color, and then I'll be able to see it right away into my drawing substitution view. The other use that the drawing substitution has is to delete drawings. So if I don't want this drawing, in the past you would need to go into your toolbar. And when I say in the past, I mean like Harmony pre-16. I think it's like Harmony 15 and under. Don't quote me, but I know that the drawing substitution view has been there for a while and that we can delete drawing with it since forever, but I'm not sure which version, but it's been a while. So in the past, you needed to click on the drawing and make it appear in your timeline, and then right click on the drawing, go to drawing, go to delete selected drawings, which was great, but sometimes you just want to remove a bunch of drawings that are useless, like this one, and you don't want to have to show it into your timeline because then it messes up your animation and stuff. So what you can do is you can go into the drawing substitution view and you can click on the lock here to go into edit mode. And when you go into edit mode, the frames turn red. This is Harmony's way of telling you, hey, you did something. And now if I click on it, I will no longer choose it in my timeline or my camera or whatever. It's not gonna change which frame that I see. But if I don't activate it and I go into regular mode, it will change, okay? But if I use the lock here, I no longer change it. This is because I'm kind of selecting one page from my pile of paper here just to do something with it, but I don't want to put it in my camera. So when you select drawing here, you can right click and you will have the choice to either rename it or delete it. And when I delete it, it's gone forever unless I Control Z. Yeah, you can Control Z, but when you delete it, it is deleted from your pile of paper. Because remember, there's a difference between going into your timeline and removing the exposure of a drawing, but you can always bring it back and literally deleting the drawing, okay? So when you go into the edit mode here and you delete something, it is gone. Unless you Control Z and you're lucky. So only do this if there's a bunch of drawings that you want to delete. If you want to delete multiple ones, it's super easy. You can just click and then either shift click to select a bunch, or you can also command or control click to select a bunch that are maybe not close by. And you can right click and you can delete these drawings. But like I said, if I delete them here, they will also disappear from my timeline and my folders and stuff, okay? So be careful with that. And then to rename the drawing, you can either do it outside of the edit mode, like just regular thing. You can just go into your camera, you can press on Control or Command D to rename the drawing, but you need to see the drawing you're gonna rename. You need to physically choose it into your timeline and stuff. If you use the edit mode, you can just click on the drawing, right click and rename it without having to show it into your scene, which is useful. Okay? The last thing I want to say is that, as you can tell here, the drawings into the drawing substitution view are always in alphabetical order. So if there's anything in a rig, for example, this is more for rig advice. If there's anything you want to always be at the beginning of your drawing substitution view, such as like a off drawing or certain mouth shapes that are more popular, remember that you can use the alphabetical order to your advantage. So if I needed to have like this flame be in front of everything, I could rename it with, Command D. And if I call it 0 flame, it's going to be in front, always. And the other thing is that when we do rigs, there is this very popular way to name the off drawing. It's the drawing that doesn't have any artwork on it. You can call it 0FF. So it looks like it's off, but it's actually written with a 0 so that it's always going to be in front. And in the drawing substitution view, you can also search. So if you're looking for like the off drawing, you can find it here. But of course, it's more useful if you have like a lip sync and you're looking for the profile mouth or the front mouth. Depending on how you name your layers, you'll be able to find it there. And that's it. So I really hope that you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye!